So here we go with the worst list. My list will definitely be different probably than any other worst list out there because I'm putting some movies in here that just disappointed me. To me, a bad movie is a movie that also fails to live up to the expectation that I set out for it. So I usually try and manage my expectations. So to me, if this movie could have been good and it sucked, then I'm going to put it on a list. Yes, I'm sure there's worse movies out there than some of the things on this list, but this was crap that I was disappointed with. To me, that's what makes a bad movie, is a movie that fails to live up to its potential. So I'm going to have a few of those movies on here. So, if you like these movies, I'm glad you liked them. The Killing Joke. I saw this movie in theaters at a special screening, so to me it's a theatrical release, so I'm putting it on a list. The reason this is on here is because the first half of this movie, the second half I would probably be close to my best list, is very well executed. But this first half is so out of left field. It's like they made a subpar episode of Batman animated series written by a fan and then tacked into a great story. Their explanation was that they wanted to expand on Batgirl and Batman's relationship to make her being shot more impactful, but this was the wrong way to go about it. This isn't how you do it. If they wanted to expand on Batgirl's character, how about this? How about dealing with the relationship between Barbara and Dick Grayson? That'd be great. That's Nightwing. Batman advising against their relationship, which is ignored and eventually leads to Nightwing, or Dick, leaving to become Nightwing. Batgirl dealing with the aftermath of Batman, kind of blaming her for the whole thing. Batman can be the father type figure like he's supposed to be and not the love interest for Batgirl. Man, that first half really kills the momentum of this movie. It's just a completely separate film. So this is, it's so disappointing. And seriously, you can even allude to the Joker. There's so many other ways to execute this than what we got. I'm going to do my own beginning of this first half at some point and share it with you. Suicide Squad. Yes, this is on my list. I really hate to see it on my list. I even went to the theaters and saw this movie 2 times. I really hoped it would jump off of my worst list. But come on, DC, this was a complete failure this year. The first third of the movie was pretty good setup. Will Smith's charisma and Margot Robbie's appeal are really the redeeming factors in the film. I use them to defend my friends on this film. The problem really isn't the characters, it's the plot. Once again, we have our movies, and we have one of those movies where the heroes have to go across a city and stop a giant beam in the sky from destroying the Earth. One thing this movie does give us is one of the dumbest archaeologists of all time. That she cracks open this ancient statue. Just why? You're supposed to be an archaeologist. Aren't you supposed to take it back to a museum or something? No. She cracks this shit open. She becomes a magical belly dancer, and then she summons the putties from Power Rangers to go take over the city. Seriously, this movie's just so bad. The Suicide Squad is formed to combat the likes of Superman, who did this shit. Really? Really? You think these guys are gonna stop Superman? The Suicide Squad is supposed to be a deniable unit used by the government to do covert missions in other countries that the US government can't go into. That's the point of Suicide Squad. If the movie stuck to that type of plot, then we could have had a pretty good film, I think. But instead we get a generic bullshit in the form of this city somehow completely evacuated in a matter of hours, and a group of powerless people sent in to save the world. Oh yeah, and the Joker's in this movie for some reason, I guess. I don't know why. Just to have him in the movie, to say Joker's in the movie. And this Joker is a little of a four-way between Lil Wayne, Scarface, Nicholson's Joker, and a Velociraptor. I can't even explain how disappointing this movie is. DC half-assed their movies this year. It's just disappointing, which is why it's going to be on my worst list. I'm sorry, Suicide Squad. DC, fix your crap next year. Ninja Turtles 2, Out of the Shadows. One thing I can say is that they listened to fans when they made this movie and tried to fix and incorporate some of the things we wanted. This is not April O'Neil, the movie, like the first one is. We got Bebop and Rocksteady. We got a human shredder. We got Krang. We got the Technodrome. There's less of April and more of the Turtles. It should have been great, but it wasn't. We had the Arrow as Casey Jones. For some reason, they cast Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman, but he's completely pointless. Shredder is also in here, but he's relegated to nothing. And once again, we get the damn ending of a beam in the sky destroying the city. There's no plot at all, nothing that makes you care about what's going on. The reason these movies don't work is because these aren't the Ninja Turtles. There are no ninja skills to these turtles. They are just hulking, bulletproof creatures that mostly punch their way to victory. I'm sure that some kids will enjoy it, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that, but As a fan of the Ninja Turtles, this is just subpar. It is better than the first one, I will say, however, but there's no way that it was going to escape my worst list for 2016. I'll stick to the original film from '89, which still holds up very well today. If we can get an update to that type of movie with that tone, that's the Ninja Turtles film I want, so get to work on it. Warcraft. Video game movies suck. It is no surprise. From the trailers of Assassin's Creed, I was worried that it would suck, and reviews had not been so kind, so I avoided it until recently, in which I watched Assassin's Creed. Ugh. I'll have to say that Warcraft is good for a video game movie, but it's still subpar. I know nothing about the video game on which this is based, so as a moviegoer, I can just tell you it was disappointing. It was a disappointing film. I had no expectations. There's a lot going on, a lot of characters, most of which I don't care about and don't know about. But I did find myself connecting with the orc character and his family and his clan. Of course, the entire plot essentially amounted to nothing. And that's when I checked out and realized when the credits began to roll that there was no ending to the actual movie. It was like Mockingjay Part 1. Once again, I was just presented with half a movie. My friends who know of this game enjoyed the film, but as just a simple moviegoer, it was just a subpar sci-fi original movie. Gods of Egypt. Not going to spend much time on this part. It's Gods of Egypt. Nobody expected it to be very good. I don't know what it is with Hollywood and mythology, but they cannot execute. Wrath of the Titans was just horrible, horrible, horrible. I wonder what the creators of this movie said to get this movie made. They're like, hey, why don't we go ahead and try and do a Gods of Egypt mythology movie? Okay, that sounds good. Here's some money. Gods of Egypt was slightly better than I thought it was going to be, but I literally went in thinking it was going to be straight dog shit. It's dog shit, but it smells a little bit better than dog shit. Zoolander, otherwise known as Zoolander 2. The sequel nobody asked for. Zoolander 2 is about 10 years too late. There are a few scenes that I thought were kind of funny, but overall there's really not a single thing I remember from this film. I saw it on the plane on the way back from Korea, and there's just not a quotable line in it. There's no, developing the black lung pop. This is a center for ants. How are the kids supposed to learn how to read if they can't even fit it to the building? There's like no good lines in this movie at all. This is just a completely forgettable, ridiculous movie, and it tries hard to kind of capitalize on the success of the first one. Honestly, the thing is, this is just so late to the party. There's a scene in this movie where they're asked to go back on stage and they have to wear these stupid shirts and they say lame. But that basically defines this movie. It's so lame. It's so lame, or whatever the hell they say in it. Independence Day, Resurgence. Did you like the first movie with Will Smith? Did you like the sit back and pop popcorn and just watch a destruction movie? The great charisma of Will Smith, the snarkiness of Goldblum, the motivational speech of Bill Pullman as the president. Well, this movie has none of that. So strap in for this unoriginal piece of crap that tries to do everything the first movie did and fails miserably. President Pullman becomes the new Randy Quaid, being a crazy man ready to go on a suicide mission against the aliens. Will Smith, he died off screen. His replacement was his son, who was more wooden than Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy. The new characters were two-dimensional. The returning cast were wasted, or they were just phoning it in. Vivica Fox's character from the first movie returns, and she's just completely wasted. She has like a minute of screen time or some shit, and she's killed off. Spoilers, I guess. It doesn't matter. If you haven't seen this movie, count yourself lucky. Goldblum's dad is back, and he has this ridiculous subplot involving him, and he survives a tsunami somehow, and then he's driving these children across the country. There's absolutely no investment in these characters, or any of the story that's going on with him. I think they devote like 30 minutes to this shit, but it's all just awful. There's no substance to this. It's such a heartless machine. It is just like the Transformers sequels, a complete and utter waste of cinematic time. The special effects aren't that good. There's a blatant, hey, are you ready for the sequel? We're gonna go to the alien planet in the next movie, and I can't wait. When are we leaving? Assassin's Creed. Man, video game movies suck. The second video game movie to be on the list, this makes Warcraft look like a masterpiece. I knew Assassin's Creed was going to suck regardless, not just because it was based on a video game, but because from the trailer I could tell the direction in which they were taking the movie. and they focus way too much time on the modern times, like what time we're in now, instead of the actual assassins and shit that we actually care about. So when I have him in the Animus, it's a giant crane like from Toy Story. And this crane is sitting here moving him around and jostling him around. And anytime there's some action with the assassins and the crap that we actually want to see, what they do is they take that and then they'll cut back to a backflip from him in the Animus crane. And then back to the assassin doing crap. And then that was the thing, like every time there was an action scene, it cut back to him in that stupid Toy Story crane flipping him around. London Has Fallen. Yet another sequel that nobody wanted, nobody asked for. Why? What did we do to deserve this, honestly? So this is the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen, which was very similar to another movie released that year called White House Down with Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. This was like, I don't even know what this was like. It was like a crappy Die Hard movie. I'm gonna call Olympus Has Fallen now Try Hard. That's what I'm gonna call it, Try Hard. So, and London Has Fallen, otherwise known as Try Hard 2, this movie sucks. You just can't care less about anything going on. You don't care about the characters. You don't care about anything going on. The plot is ridiculous. There's like no room for any kind of suspension of disbelief in this film. This sequel somehow managed to do exactly the same thing as the first, but still be worse. It's a completely forgettable waste of time. London Has Fallen. Watch it if you just want to gouge your eyes out or you want to drink beer with your friends and make fun of it. So I want to take this time to talk about a few dishonorable mentions. Ride Along 2. Why did we need a second one of these? I mean, the other one was okay. Why is there a second one? I love Kevin Hart, I love Ice Cube, but come on, we don't need to see Ride Along 2. Another dishonorable mention I wanted to talk about was Angry Birds. Is it great? No. Is it awful? No. That's why it's not on the list. But it's very subpar, and it's another video game movie. So that's 3 video game movies that are basically awful, so just stop making them. Batman v Superman. Now, when I originally did my review of this, I gave it a very, very, very generous rating of 6 out of 10. To be honest, that score could apply to the Ultimate Cut, which fills in a lot of the randomness that I saw in theaters, some of the editing. There's just too much crap crammed into this movie. You have like the Dark Knight Returns story, the Death of Superman story, Flashpoint, Birth of Justice League, there's a Wonder Woman plot, a Lex Luthor plot, a Lois Lane plot. There's too much crap jammed into this one film. It's like DC was just like, I'm just not ready. So, I originally had my number 1 done. My number 1 worst movie of the year was picked out already. I had to move around my list after seeing this film. Here it is. Oh my god, Ghostbusters sucked. Who are you gonna call? Not these people. God, Ghostbusters was it was terabad. That's a combination of terrible and bad. Terabad. That's a new definition I'm coming up with. Put it in the dictionary for Ghostbusters. Honestly, Ghostbusters sucked. It was a crappy movie. It was a completely needless cash grab for the old people who like the Ghostbusters movie. Hollywood is too afraid to take a chance on any kind of new franchises, so they just take the name of some old franchise, stick it on a new movie, and then try and attach crap to it to get you to go watch it. Some people like Ghostbusters. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I laughed maybe 2 or 3 times, and when I say laughed, I was more like this. Yeah, that's about all you're gonna get out of me. God, this movie was insulting. It was just boring as crap. Nothing even happened until like the last bit of the movie. Horrible special effects. This is what I turned to my friend. My friend made me watch this dumb movie, which I avoided all year watching. Because they heard I was maybe doing this worst list. And they're like, hey, if you're doing a worst list, you have to have Ghostbusters. My general rule, I do not put crap on the list unless I've actually seen the movie. It's not fair to the movie. However, I don't purposely go out and watch shit. So basically, think of this. This is the best way I can describe this movie right here. Ghostbusters is like a SNL skit of the Ghostbusters film, mixed with some Scooby-Doo stuff, and then stretched out into a 2+ hour long movie. That's Ghostbusters. That's what this crap is. And I feel dirty even calling it Ghostbusters. This was not funny. These people have been in funny movies. Bridesmaids is a much funnier movie than this. This is not a funny movie. It's an insulting movie. There's a scene in the movie where this ghost throws Bill Murray out the window, and they look out the window and they go, oh, he wasn't fit to be a Ghostbuster anyway, completely insulting anybody who liked those original films. And when Bill Murray flew out the window, I turned to my friend, I was like, did he just die? Yeah, he just died. This movie sucked. It was a garbage movie.